Hello, my friends, and welcome to another installment of the Living Oracle podcast, where I bring through Akashic guidance for ascending souls to assist us all in navigating the supercharged, highly chaotic, mega turbulent energies that we are currently navigating during this time of monumental transition in the human collective consciousness. I am your host, Amy Belair. I'm super excited that you're here. Thank you for joining me. And before I dive into the energies, I just want to let you know that although this is an energy report style podcast, which means that I'll be talking about the current events and the current transits and whatever's going on at the time of recording, which is Thursday, May 22nd, 2025. The codes and the wisdom and the Akashic guidance that is woven through these transmissions, it's truly timeless. So what that means for you is that you can listen to any one of these episodes if you're ever feeling confused, lost, undecided, in need of guidance, if you're ever like WTAF is happening in my life, and you just need something to help orient you, or maybe you're feeling super activated and you just want to keep it going. You can allow yourself to be intuitively drawn to any one of these episodes, no matter when it was recorded. And as you listen to it, you will hear the guidance that you need for your current circumstances. Because let's be real, the Gregorian calendar is a fabrication. It's not even... It's not even a thing. We live by it because our current society is weird, but the energy doesn't restrict itself to dates on calendars. And also we are shifting out of the predominant perspective of linear time into the predominant perspective of quantum time. So that totally means that the codes that you need to hear may be on an episode that was recorded 8 months ago, and you're just like on some random day, you're like, oh my God, what is happening with me? I just need to listen to something. I just need to find some guidance or some clarity. Just let yourself listen to any old episode, no matter when it was recorded, and receive the wisdom and the guidance from the Akashic field that was channeled through. And I promise you, it will be exactly what you need. That's why I call it the Living Oracle. So I hope that you will use this offering of mine to its fullest capacity. Okay, all that being said, is it intense out here, or is it intense? So, personal update. I was advised, I was guided by the guidance that I brought through on the last energy report, and that shifted me back out of the sort of like 4D supreme funk I was in and back up into the 5D consciousness. Now, if you found this podcast just to stand alone and you have no idea who I am and you're just listening. Number one, I have another podcast that's been 6 years in the running. It's all about spiritual and psychic awakening and everything else you could imagine woven in there under that general umbrella. It's called Third Eye Awakening. Go check it out if that's your jam. But also to give you context, when I'm talking about the 4D energy or the 4D frequency, the 4D reality versus the 5D reality. Go back and listen to the episode. I think it's entitled, Did I Die in My Sleep? I think that's what I called it. And it was like probably put out on March 12th of 2025. Anyway, that's where I explain this shift. And nutshell, at the point of the total lunar eclipse in Virgo in mid-March, I literally went to sleep in the 4D timeline and woke up in the 5D timeline, and it blew my mind. And then I shared about it on the energy report, and I received so many emails and messages from other people who were like, oh my God, I felt it too. And like, whoa, this is like, what? Thank you for explaining it. I was wondering what was up. That I know it's legit. And even if I didn't receive those messages, I'm so sensitively attuned to the different frequencies after years of going into the Akashic records. And also to give it context, like the energy of the 4D versus the 5D, like it's so pronounced to me that they're completely different. So in the 4D, it feels like having beer goggles on. It feels like beer goggles that distort everything and kind of cut me off and make me feel more separated from everyone than I feel in the 5D. I feel like I'm like encased in my own experience, and I'm much more selfish and self-motivated in the 4D. It doesn't make me a bad person. It's like, you know, subtleties and nuances of selfishness, but it's still selfish. It's about me, me, me. Because in the 4D, when you feel really separate from everybody else, it's scary. You feel like nobody else has your back, even if you have wonderful people in your life. It's just like, like, I don't know, it's this feeling of being cut off from the flow of energy and the continuous connection of consciousness and love that we share. And I know that sounds kind of kumbaya and whatever, but when I say love, I mean love as like the primary source of nourishment and sustenance that we all depend on. It's like the feeling of being cut off from oxygen. Like you only have so much oxygen available, and it's scary, and it puts you in a very selfish and self-serving sort of frame of mind. And it also, the 4D is where it's where all of our stories and limiting beliefs and grudges and karmic entanglements and soul contracts, it's where all of that lives. And so when we're in the 4D and we have these 4D beer goggles on of distortion, it's like you feel more encased inside of yourself. You feel disconnected from the true, pure current of love energy and consciousness that flows reciprocally between you and everyone and everything else. It's not a cool feeling. And then you're cycling around in your own like victim stories, and yeah, it's just, it's not fun. Whereas in the 5D, every time I'm in the 5D, it feels like I've removed those goggles, and suddenly I feel, I mean, like I never did ecstasy, so I don't really know for sure, but I think it's what is induced by ecstasy. It's this feeling super like your walls are down. You just love people. You don't feel threatened even on a subconscious level by people, but you also still have like self-respect and boundaries. Like you're not a doormat, but you just like I can feel the current of energy that flows between all of us as a reality, not just a concept, but it's like a felt fact. And I feel extremely resourced, and I feel extremely blessed, and I feel extremely at ease, and my whole nervous system unwinds, and I don't feel alone anymore. Even though I'm sitting here alone in my kitchen, I feel my interconnectedness with everyone and everything, and it's such a beautiful state of consciousness. So anyway, I'm in this beautiful state of consciousness, and I have been since the last energy report, and it's intense, like not the 5D, but just the world. The energy of the world is intense. I really feel like we're about to like pop or just like burst through a barrier. And it's like this pressure. It reminds me of giving birth. So if you've ever given birth, through your yoni, as my daughter would say, everybody knows, everybody who's given birth before or who has worked in the birthing field knows about the proverbial ring of fire, which if you don't know what I mean, it's when the widest diameter of the baby's head is passing through the yoni. And so it's like, you're like stretching and it burns. It's a ring of fire for a reason, because you're just like, like you feel like you're just going to split into. It kind of feels like that, but also for me, the shoulders were always the worst. Like the head was okay, but then like when the shoulders were passing through my pelvis, that's when I would like lose my shit. And that's kind of what it feels like. Like everything feels like it's at a fever pitch. And my husband was saying to me the other day, now he does not, I see things through, you could say rose-colored glasses, but it's not from a place of naivety. Like I definitely see the the bullshit. And I mean, you all, if you've listened to me before, you all know that I see the false matrix and I talk about it. But I just know the power of my oracle, and I know how manifestation works. And I know that there are many multiple timelines to choose from. And I know that the more of my consciousness and energy I flow into the beautiful timelines, that's like my primary act of resistance. That and just like loving myself and loving everybody else. Those are powerful acts of resistance, active acts of resistance. So whereas my husband is a little bit more of like he's a little more on the black pilled side, especially when he's in a mood. But the other day he said to me, he's like, I don't know. He was just feeling this intense sense of foreboding. And he was like, it's like, I can feel the fucking coming. I was like, the fucking? And he thinks like, he was just like, I just feel like something, like something's about to happen. And he figured it was like geopolitical, although like are a bunch of geopolitical things not already happening. It's just sort of like, add it to the pile. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to be glib about it. I just like, so not like we're in a state of world peace and suddenly a geopolitical thing is going to pop off. It's like we're everywhere is in such a state of chaos and turbulence. But then he told me yesterday that he thinks maybe the fucking he was feeling was a really big volcano that is in the process of erupting under the ocean. And I mean, maybe very well, it could be that energy that I'm picking up on too. But I tend, the thing is, it plays out like through multiple octaves of reality, right? So it's not like one event. It's like different layers of the way that the energy of transformation then manifests and expresses in this collective consensus dreamscape that we call reality. But either way, I do feel like we're sort of at this intense moment where either it's the ring of fire or the shoulders are passing through the pelvis and you're just like, wow, like, oh my God. Pardon me. And I think astrologically what it's coming from is that primarily that Saturn is it's like finishing up its last couple days at the anaretic degree of Pisces at 29 degrees Pisces. And like the birth analogy is so apt because 0 degrees Aries. So on Saturday, May 24th, 2025, Saturn is going to move out of Pisces and move to 0 degrees Aries. I believe it's in the evening or the nighttime Eastern time, but whatever. It's happening on the 24th in North America. And the 0 degrees Aries is the point of birth. It is literally the like newborn, wet and slippery from the birth canal. The entire sign of Aries is the newborn. And Taurus is the infant, and Gemini is like the 1-year-old, the toddler, and on and on. Cancer is kind of like the three-nager with a lot of emotions. and it kind of matures that way through the zodiac. So we're literally at the precipice of the birth of a new thing. And like Neptune, we already kind of got this vibe back in March. I think it was the end of March, if I'm remembering correctly, when Neptune moved out of Pisces into Aries for the first time in like, I think it was 165 years that it's visited Aries, because Neptune is a very, very long, it's the second outermost planet and in astrology. And, it has a very, very long cycle through the zodiac. So never have we ever in our lifetimes ever experienced Neptune in Pisces. And we already sort of experienced the Neptune version of this, and now we're experiencing the Saturn version. And I want to speak into this a little bit. I did pull some cards, but this may be an astrology heavy energy report, TBH. Because I feel like So the Saturn transit through the astrology is 30 years. So it is starting a new 30-year journey through the zodiac on Saturday. And this is like, to me, this is such a big deal. It's such a big deal. And the way I perceive it, I've not heard any other astrologers talk about it, but I feel like it's still worth contributing to the like collective conversation about what all of these energies mean, because really they mean so many things. And so it's not really about like, oh, I'm right and other astrologers are wrong, or other astrologers are right and I'm wrong. It's like we're all kind of speaking to different nuances and different angles of the way that this energy can be felt and understood as we experience it in our lives. But last year, towards the end of the year in the autumn, is when I started looking ahead to the astrology of 2025. And I was like, oh shit, well, I guess I need to become an astrologer now, because it's getting real in 2025, like real. Boy, oh boy. But we're just about through the hardest part of it. The first 6 months of this year, we're just like, oh. And then the second 6 months are going to feel so much better. But when I saw that Neptune and Saturn, within very close timing of each other, were both leaving Pisces and moving into Aries, and there's upcoming conjunction in Aries of Neptune and Saturn within the near future. The way I saw it, the way I interpreted it, through the lens of the Akashic Records and my sort of general finger on the pulse of the spiritually awakened community and collective consciousness, I was like, oh my God, this is so exciting. So many people who have been nurturing a quiet, secret dream of moving into their soul-aligned work and or their soul-aligned life, it's gonna happen this year. And it's so exciting. It's so exciting to me, because I mean, really, that's what I'm here for. Is like, I just have such an intense passion for the idea that we all have unique gifts and talents that our soul came to share, and that the reality that we can co-create together when we are all / the majority of us are operating from soul alignment and truly sharing like our authentic gifts and talents and the things that fill us with passion and satisfaction and joy. And we receive money in exchange for that, or we receive like energetic compensation that allows us to thrive. Oh my God, like, is there anything better? The world we will create from that paradigm is thrilling to me. So that's what I saw, was like, wow, a lot of people are going to step into their soul-aligned lives this year. And I'm fucking here for it. I'm so here for it. And I feel like while Neptune and Saturn were in the later stages of Pisces, what was happening was, with Neptune, we were dreaming the dream. You know, we were like, Pisces is the dreamer, or sorry, Neptune is the dreamer and Pisces is the dream. And we were like these little fetuses, little 5-month-long fetuses, like not ready to be born. It wasn't time to be born, but we were dreaming. We were dreaming about what life would be. It's exciting. It's coming, but it's not here. It's just in the dream phase. That's what the last handful of years have been for a lot of people. And then when Neptune shifted out of Pisces into Aries, it's almost like, okay, we're fully cooked now. Like, technically we're 37 weeks gestation. Like, we could be born anytime. When's it going to happen? But you don't, it's going to happen when it's going to happen. And so there's almost been this feeling of like, over the last whatever, 6 weeks or so, the last handful of weeks, there's been this feeling of like, it's here. It's so close. I almost feel like I could reach out and pluck it. And yet almost like there's been a hesitation, or like it's just hasn't been time yet, but it's almost time. It's almost time. And I believe that on Saturday, when Saturn shifts into Aries, 0 degrees Aries, is like, pop, it's time. It's go time. It's happening. And the combination of Saturn and Aries is going to be a strange one, especially with Neptune present. So if you listen to certain astrologers, especially like classical astrologers, typically people see Saturn as like a negative planet, but I don't see Saturn as a negative planet. It's the one that's here to make sure that we do shit right. And, that it's like slowing us down so we don't make mistakes that will cost us dearly in the future. That's what Saturn is really here for, especially in the sign of Aries. So Aries, again, it's the newborn, it's the pioneer, it's the new, like Aries is almost, it's so driven and it's so focused and it's so brazen. It's a little bit like leap before you look. Like that's the energy of Aries. And Saturn is like, and slow down. Saturn is almost like the parent that's like, we're going to slow it down. We're going to do it step by step. We're going to do it properly. Or you could say that Saturn is like the building inspector. So Pisces is the Neptune is the vague dream, okay? The dreamer who's just like, I just know that I'll take the example of a spiritual business or a soul-aligned business because it makes it easy to explain what I mean. So I know a whole bunch of you you've secretly been nurturing this dream to have a business that is centered around spirituality, and it feels like an expression of your soul because you don't want to work. You don't want to spend like 40 plus hours a week working at a job that just doesn't do anything for you. It's like there's no passion, there's no excitement. It's not really utilizing the talents. Like you have the aptitude for it, but there's a difference between aptitude and like passionate talent and soul gifts, right? And so I know a lot of you have been nurturing this dream, gestating this dream of creating a spiritual business. And there's been a lot of fear around it that you've had to work through, and you're probably still working through as you go through this nurturing process. And it's like when Neptune shifted into Aries, it was almost like, okay, I can feel it's time, but it's not quite time to actually step into it, but it's like closer than it's ever been. And when Saturn moves into Aries, then it's like, it's time to build it. Like Saturn is the builder, but Saturn is like the builder that anticipates the building inspector and wants to do it all right. So Saturn is that builder and also the building inspector, making sure that we build it properly and we build it to code and we build it in alignment with our soul and we build it in a way that is sustainable and it's not going to lead to burnout. It's not going to lead to like just hating your life and like, feeling trapped by your business. It's going to feel like you, and it's going to feel like a true service. And it's just like Saturn. Aries wants to go fast, fast, fast. Saturn is like, slow down, grasshopper. We're going to do this brick by brick. Neptune is like, I'm the divine feminine dreamer. Like, I don't know how to do this. And like, I don't have the how. Like Neptune doesn't have the codes of how. Neptune is a planet, an influence that is typically associated with like symbolism and dreams, and it's like clear. It can be clear, but also unclear at the same time, and it can also feel foggy and super confusing. So it's like we may not have the full the full plans in front of us, that we can understand, like the big picture, that our ego awareness can connect to and intellectually grasp. And that might feel uncomfortable as we go through, the next couple years. It's like, as I talk about the 5D, actually, shout out to Kate, who messaged me some weeks ago. Love you, Kate. And she asked me if I could speak into this. So I hope I'm remembering correctly what you asked me about, but she was asking, like, how do we talk to people about the 5D? And she in particular, she really excels at working with one-on-one with like powerful leaders and sort of being their oracle, but also she's a reflector in human design. And so she literally like reflects them back to themselves and helps them to get clarity about themselves. And so she was like, how do we talk to people about the 5D? And that's the challenge, is like, none of us has ever been here before on Earth in this incarnation. Like, we don't know, and we don't know what we're building. But that doesn't make it not real. And I feel like Saturn it's like we can trust Saturn. We can trust the energy and the influence of Saturn here in Aries. If it was only Neptune in Aries, we may start building things, but like, it's like we're trying to build with a blindfold on. And we are driven by the energy of Aries. Like, I got to move forward. I got to build this new thing. Like, we're starting a new cycle. This is really important. But Saturn is the one that we can rely on for a while to lay the foundation, and lay the foundation properly. So it's not going to have cracks in 2 years. Like, we can just trust that even if we don't know the whole entire plan and exactly how this is all going to look, and like we don't have the complete blueprint for the future spread out on the table before us to refer to, this is Saturn's zone of genius. Saturn is going to hand us the next step, and it's going to be the right next step. And we can trust that. So it's like we have this beautiful, to me, it feels like a beautiful combination of Neptune representing the divine feminine dreamer, the divine feminine artist, and she's just allowed to be in the dream, and to sort of be like, her input is, the vision, the highest vision, without having to worry about how it's done. It's almost like, when there's a person, like, let's say in the example of, like, you're literally building a new house, and the woman is the one who has the vision for the house. And she's like, I know, and I want it to look like this, and I want it to look like that. And she doesn't really know what it means on a grounded, structured Saturn level to actually build that out. But if she wasn't contributing her vision, then Saturn would just be boring as fuck. But if Saturn wasn't there to build her vision in a real, practical, grounded way with a stable foundation, up to code, sustainable, safe, like long-term legacy stuff, not just like quick cheap thrills, but like long-term, meant to stand the test of time. Without Saturn, Neptune and Aries would probably be building something that would crumble pretty quickly. So they both need each other. We need the dream and the vision, the inspired dream and the vision that doesn't necessarily know how it's going to be done. And we need Saturn that's like, okay, this is the next step, and this is the next step, and then this is the next step. So I don't think we're going to have the whole plan. And like a further example is that, it's been interesting. My algorithm has brought me lately, there's a lot of people complaining about capitalism, and the gigantic irony of it is that a lot of them are coaches, and I can't even deal with it, because I'm like, I'm sorry, is this system not allowing you to thrive? Because in a communist system, you would not be coaching, I tell you that much. But anyway, I've seen people complaining about capitalism. And I think what they're actually complaining about, they call it capitalism, but I think they're truly complaining about consumer like mass consumer culture and the inherited legacy of the Industrial Revolution. That's what's crumbling, and that's what we are replacing. I don't think we're replacing capitalism, but I keep asking the question to people. Like they're putting up amazing arguments, and I agree, our world is fucked. Like the systems and the structures that we have are so whack, so damaging and devastating and utterly and totally unsustainable. And they come at such a high cost to our beautiful world, our beautiful earth, the way that resources are used. They come at such a high cost to, like, you know, the quality of human life. There's human suffering created, poverty perpetuated, like war and division and enmity and violence. All of that is a problem, and I agree with that completely, and it is not what we should ever settle for, ever. And the great news is that's what I feel like is in the process of actually changing on a ground level right now. But when people are complaining about capitalism, I keep asking in the comment sections, and I'm very careful to explain, like, I'm not trying to be belligerent or to contradict you or, you know, whatever. I'm just genuinely curious, like, do you see an alternative that you wish to share about a different direction that we can move? And I'm just curious. I know what direction I think we should move, but I'm curious to hear what other people think. And I always say, in my opinion, the non-negotiable criteria is that all human beings are free to offer their unique gifts and talents as a meaningful and satisfying contribution to the collective and the community, and to be valued and compensated such that they are able to thrive. To me, that is the criteria, because we have so much powerful creative energy, and if we can't actually be expressing every beautiful gift that we carry inside of us, and to be able to thrive and be supported and have a place in the world as we share those gifts, then we're really not going to create anything better than what we've got going on currently. And pretty much they always just ignore me. Like, they just don't respond at all. Nobody responds, because it's so much easier to complain and it's a lot harder to come up with the solution. But I think also because it's hard for us to imagine the solution. It's hard for us to imagine a different direction. We don't have the whole big picture. Only one person responded to me, and she said, she basically was like, I'm paraphrasing her response, but she was like, it's gentle capitalism. It's kind capitalism. It's capitalism that centers people and, you know, whatever. And I was like, yeah, I agree with you. I don't think capitalism is the problem. And I don't know if there's a different option. I don't. And I could be wrong. And I'm super open to hearing it. I do not need to be right. I'm genuinely more interested in actually creating change that benefits everyone. But as I see it, when we look at the options like capitalism, socialism, communism, capitalism is the only one that allows people to share truly like who and what they are and be self-determining. However, consumer culture and the as I said, the inherited, like, passed down legacy of the Industrial Revolution, that shit has to go. It's clearly unsustainable. It's terrible. It's just awful. So that stuff has to change. But I don't think capitalism is the problem in and of itself. But again, like, this is the reason I'm talking about this is because it's like Neptune doesn't have the whole vision. She's just dreaming. She's dreaming, and she needs to be allowed to dream beautiful dreams and then share them with Saturn. And Saturn is like, hey, I got you, babe. And like, I'm going to build the next piece. I'm going to figure out what part can be built, and I'm going to build it. And we can trust Saturn to build responsibly. And that, like, I just think this is such a fucking positive transit. I'm so excited for it. Now, Saturn can be challenging because Saturn is the keeper, the custodian of our hard lessons. And we all have hard lessons to learn in life. And I think that's why Saturn gets a bad rap, because we don't really, like, it's not pleasant to learn our hard lessons. But even though Saturn is the custodian of our hard lessons, Saturn is not the creator of our hard lessons. We are the creator of our own hard lessons. Sometimes we didn't create them in this lifetime. Sometimes they are residual, like karma balancing out from other lives. And so it can seem immensely unfair. And please know that I'm never saying that if you experienced immense suffering in your life, it's because you did something in a past life to deserve it. That is not what I understand karma to be. Okay? Nobody deserves to be abused or hurt or dishonored. Nobody. But Saturn is the custodian of our hard lessons, and Saturn is here to make sure that we don't move forward unless and until we have actually integrated the lesson that is here for us at this level, because Saturn understands the magnification of the consequences of moving forward before the lesson is integrated. So I'll give you a specific example. So let's say, this is almost kind of a personal one, to be honest. Let's say you have in your past, you've had a certain relationship with money, and your relationship with money has been, in my case, you could look at me and say that I've been irresponsible with money, but it's really not that. It's just that I had no money literacy. Literally nobody ever taught me or talked to me or ever showed me how to actually, I just was never shown by anybody. I wasn't shown in school. I wasn't shown by my parents. I wasn't shown by my grandparents. I don't know why. It was just taboo to talk about money or something like that. But I just didn't know what to do with money. I didn't know. There's so much. I still have so much financial illiteracy. I'm in the process of learning a lot of things right now. And so I didn't have money habits that allowed me to hold on to money and leverage it towards, through investments or whatever, towards creating greater wealth. I didn't know how to do that. And so, this is probably just me putting this own block on myself, but it feels like a Saturn thing. Saturn would not let me, let's say, win the lottery or come into some gigantic windfall of hundreds of thousands of dollars unless and until I've learned how to manage money in a way that is, it's not according to what society thinks I should do, but in a way that is stewardship, is a deep sense of awareness of consequences to certain decisions, or what it means to, I'm trying to use language that doesn't sound judgmental, because that's not the energy of Saturn. That's how we misunderstand Saturn. That's not the actual energy of Saturn. It's if I don't have the appropriate bank accounts set up, if I don't know how to hold that money and how to put it into investments or into places, what would probably happen and what has always happened is if I have money come in before I've learned how to do those things, I end up just spending it all. And some of it is spending it on myself, but a lot of it is just giving it away. Because I'm I don't know, I don't know how to hold it. So it's Saturn is sort of acts as a form of protection. No, you can't actually move forward and get the thing that you want until you've integrated, or the thing you think you want at the next level, until you've truly integrated the lesson so that you can have the thing. It's not like Saturn is not withholding and cruel. Saturn is the custodian of our hard lessons, and Saturn, out of love as an influence, will not let us move forward until we've learned those lessons. Will not let us, will not pass the building code inspection if we are not up to code. And in the long run, that's a good thing, because do we want our buildings to collapse and injure people? No, we don't want that. So I'm just saying that the influence of Saturn can feel hard, but it's not hard. And something that really changed it for me was, whatever. When Killian died, I just decided that I am no longer hiding from my hard lessons in life. I was just like, I'm facing it head on. This is obviously the most important, characterizing feature of this chapter in my life. And so I'm facing it. And I've carried that attitude forward with me. So every time I go through a hard lesson, I'm not trying to avoid it. And I'm not, I'm just like, okay, I guess it's time for me to learn this, and it doesn't feel good, but I know that I don't have to be afraid of the hard lessons in life and the hard passages in life, like the dark night of the soul, the existential crises, massive transformation. It doesn't scare me. I can't say that I enjoy it when I'm in those seasons, but it doesn't scare me anymore, because I just know that I'm safe to experience those hard lessons and to grow through them. And I feel like that is what has allowed me to understand the magic and the beauty of Saturn. And so I think a lot of people who aren't spiritually awakened, and who do have a tendency to try and run away from those things and to avoid the hard lessons, and they want to blame others and always be the victim and never take accountability for their role and the way that they have participated, and they always want to make it the other person's problem and oh, poor me, blah, blah, blah. Those people are probably going to have a tough time. I'm sure they had a tough time with Saturn in Pisces, but they're going to have a tough time with Saturn in whatever, area of life is ruled by Aries. So I'm not going to do a rising sign forecast, but if you want to understand where this is mostly going to play out for you, you can look at what house is in Aries. So for me, it is my second house. So this is probably it makes total sense, because I'm just shifting into a phase where I'm really what I want to do is pay off my debt. So that just feels really important to me, and also operate with a new level of integrity when it comes to money and sales, and there's a maturing, a natural maturing in my character around the topic of money and the second house. But I don't look at it out of fear. I'm not oh God, this is going to be terrible for the next, 2.5 years or however long Saturn is in my second house. I'm yeah, it's time to clean this up and start a new chapter. It's exciting to me. I know it's not always going to feel easy. It hasn't so far, but it's going to, I think it's it's just time. It's there's always a point where maturing is the natural next step. So you can look at what house is in Aries in your own chart. If you're using the default chart system, you just pull up your birth chart randomly and you don't make any adjustments, you just pick a software. I really like and recommend astro-seek.com. That's my favorite one. It's just really easy to use and really easy to understand. But if you just enter your birth data and click calculate, it will automatically be using something that's called the Placidus house system, and that can make it look kind of confusing. And so the way you would figure out which house is in Aries is you would either look at which house, it's so hard to describe without visuals, which house is on the cusp. So the left hand edge of that house is on the cusp of Aries. So the whole house may not be in Aries. It probably won't with Placidus, but look at which house is like touching Aries on its left edge, the left edge of the house. But if you want it to be way simpler and just easier to look at and understand, and in my opinion, honestly, whole signs, there's a lot of accuracy. I'm not saying Placidus is not accurate. I don't perceive it that way at all. But whole signs is very accurate. So then what you could do is go to extended chart selections and just click on that, and then you will see it will have a little drop down menu that says like house, and it'll say Placidus, and just click on the drop down menu and select whole signs, and that will sync it all up so you can see like each house corresponds to an entire zodiac sign. And yeah, so whatever house is in Aries is where you're going to feel this on a personal level. But on the greater whole, what it feels like to me is so many of us are starting a new chapter in like beautiful soul alignment. We have the energies of Neptune and Saturn supporting us in this new chapter, and they're supporting us in different ways. And it's like so much of this transit and this next 2 years is going to be about having faith and taking action, even if you don't have the whole plan laid out for you. There's so much more that I want to say, but this is already getting really long. So much more that I want to say. And the next energy report, I'll talk about Jupiter moving into Cancer, which is so beautiful and super exciting. And there's so many things I want to say, but I'm going to stop here. I'll quickly talk about the cards that I pulled. So I pulled the 10 of Swords. I only pulled 3. So I pulled the 10 of Swords from the tarot. And the 10 of Swords is exactly that feeling that I was talking about at the beginning, where you're just like, like it's like the peak intensity right before the shift happens. And the shift is like, like it feels so much better on the other side. But the 10 of Swords is kind of like, the way I like to think about it is it's at your rock bottom, which I remember I was saying last week. It's like, rock bottom is not rock bottom's kind of good, because then you just get it over with, and then from there you can shift. So the 10 of Swords, sometimes it looks like a scary card, like ultimate doom, you're being stabbed with 10 swords. It's not a beautiful symbol, but to me, the way I've always experienced it and understood it is that it's like that moment where you're just like, you're so over it, like you are done flogging a dead horse. You're just like I'm done. But right, like the intensity of that moment right before you get to the clarity of I'm done doesn't really feel good, but it's so brief. And then it comes the relief of like, I'm fucking done. Like, I'm done. It's over. I'm done. This is amazing. I never have to do that again. It's finished. That's the energy of the 10 of Swords, which I really feel in the collective right now. Really feel in the collective. And then the next card that I pulled after that is from Rebecca Campbell's Work Your Light Oracle, and it's Pillar of Light. And it says, your vibration is rising. You are the oracle. And it's just so beautiful. I guess I'll tell you the third card that I pulled is from Janine Burgess's beautiful Oracle Mandala, and it says alignment. And we recently saw this card, and it goes through all of the chakras, starting from the root, I am grounded and secure, up to the sacral, I feel my emotions and sensuality, up to the solar plexus, I do trust my inner strength, up into the heart, I love myself and the world around me, up into the throat, I speak with truth and confidence, up into the third eye, I see beyond the physical world and all the way up into the crown. I understand myself as a divine spirit. I just feel like this little layout of these 3 cards is the reminder. Again, just as we saw in the cards last week, it's like we are just being brought into alignment. And sometimes that process feels gross, but that's actually what's happening. We are fully aligning like our spinal column and our energy column to become a pillar of light. Our vibration is rising, our frequency is rising, and the reality that we create from this level of consciousness is worth every single Saturn lesson there is. And we can deeply surrender to the process in faith and trust that everything is beautiful and it's okay, even when it doesn't feel very good. And of course, always advocating for your boundaries and to not stay in situations that when things don't feel good, sometimes, the point is that changes need to be made. And just, we can trust that we are being guided to change in the direction of our alignment. I feel a little bit of light language coming through. Ke taha atoru itrua fa inurokera te oroha ishuno aya. Tisuno te oroke I fatroa te o kinurota I talawense I korota shuniosa. Katra fa I talawenti kana I sorote kuyoia ha inuroti kaya so hashna kuru I haya. Fatroa te o kinuro e tala. Before I let you go, I also just want to share with you something that has been, it's just like a little hack, but it has had the most tremendous results. And I'm just like, I'm so happy with it. It has changed my own vibration and kept me anchored in the 5D in a way that feels very stable. Not that I'll never drop out of it again, but it's like now I know my way back and it feels really easy. So I've started saying an affirmation. I like to do it with my mala beads, but also I'll just do it in the morning when I wake up, or sometimes if I wake up in the middle of the night, I'll do it before bed as I'm falling asleep. And if I think about it during the day, I'll do it as well. But I've just started saying, I am so grateful. I am so grateful. I am so grateful. And even if I don't know what I'm grateful for, it doesn't actually matter. It's even better. I find that this has been more effective than listing out what I'm grateful for, because it's an open-ended statement, but it's a powerful I am statement. So what happens is my subconscious automatically starts rifling through the laundry list of things that I'm grateful for, and it just starts bringing them into my awareness without me having to actually write them down or speak them out loud. It's beautiful, and it's been it has lifted my vibration so much to just continuously say to myself, I am so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. And the thing is, there are so many things that I'm grateful for, so many, but I don't even need to know what they are. Because you know how sometimes when you're in a scrunchy place, it can be hard to find those first few things. And yes, you can be I'm grateful for the sky. I'm grateful for the air. But if you're not actually feeling good, those can feel like empty statements. But I found that if I'm not feeling good and I just say, I'm so grateful, because there's not a specific thing attached to it, it shifts my energy so fast. And it just moves me into an awareness of the many, many things that I'm grateful for without me having to attach to them. And it has had such beautiful results, like solutions to problems that I've been grappling with for a long time, like a difference in my relationships, like close relationships, sort of like acquaintance relationships, significant shifts with money. It's been so wonderful, and it's so easy. And I feel like, yeah, even I'm sure I'll take a little detour back to the 4D to collect parts of myself that are still stuck there and need to be brought into the 5D. But I just feel like, oh, it's not going to last any longer than it has to, because I'm so grateful. And that is the doorway back into the 5D. It has been the fastest form of manifestation I've ever done. It has yielded blessings so quickly that I'm pretty sure this is all I'm going to do ever again. So I just wanted to share that with you because it's free and it's simple and anyone can do it anytime. And if you like me, if you like this energy report, please consider leaving a positive rating and review on Apple Podcasts. It's really helpful to me, as well as sharing it with anybody that you think would resonate or benefit. And if you are interested in working with me, I forgot to announce at the end of my last podcast episode, the last energy report, that my website is done and it's so beautiful and I'm so excited. I did put it in the show notes the last time, but I'll put it in the show notes again and you can go check it out. There are so many things there. I've created almost 100 offerings in the last 5 years. All 100 are not there. I've curated a selection of the ones that I am the most proud of and I think are the best, and they offer like really beautiful value at so many different price points. I mean, there are free things. There are things that are $11. There are things that are $22, things that are like $33, $44, like just over $111, things that are like $150, $200, all the way up to my private mentorship, which is, a 5-figure investment. There are so many things there. Plus there is a list of the students who have been in my Akashic Records apprenticeship and certification program. And, they are just like my personal recommendations. If you're looking for Akashic readings, I have seen them all in action and they are so gifted and so beautiful and so compassionate and loving and non-judgmental and just wonderful at what they do. So go check them out. And if you are interested in becoming an Akashic Records reader, if that is one of the dreams that you've been nurturing, and you feel like it's your time, my Akashic Records apprenticeship and certification is starting round 3 next month in June. And this is a 9-month, like very supportive, very high touch mentorship program where we have baked in, like I organize practice readings with real people. There are like coaching and mentorship calls where you get to ask your questions. There's like core teachings. It's my most immersive program that I've ever created. And I love it so much. It is so gratifying to teach other people everything that I've learned about how to become an Akashic Records reader and how to like do it successfully and like create a business that receives money while you offer your soul aligned services and gifts to the world. I would love to have you in the program if you're ready for this. And because it is a 9-month program, this is the only time. I only open it once a year. This is the only time that I'm going to run it this year. The next opportunity will be in 2026. So if you have any questions about that, please feel free to reach out and we can have a conversation, or I'll put the link in the show notes so you can check it out. And otherwise, I'm also going to bring your attention to one of my favorite programs that I don't talk about very much because I'm pretty shitty at marketing, to be honest. I never know how to, I'm so terrible at creating marketing messages because it just feels, I feel like I have some kind of dyslexia around it. I don't know how to do it, but I created this program. It's called Heartstar Creator. It is a journey through the dimensions of consciousness, the strands of DNA, and the chakras. And it is not your basic program at all. And in fact, I just had a reading earlier before recording this with somebody who she's working through the program, and she told me, and she's not the first, so many people who take it tell me that as they do the chakra clearing, so there are these beautiful chakra clearings I created, which are the most thorough chakra clearings I have ever encountered, as well as chakra activations. And with the chakra clearings, like she was telling me of physical body purge symptoms that happened for her after going through some of the chakra clearings, as well as really beautiful, positive, like exciting shifts that happened for her after doing the activations. And she's not the first person to tell me that. So many people have let me know that they've experienced like physical body purges, like very, very pronounced physical body purges from doing the chakra clearings. And I just am so proud of this program. I never talk about it, but you should definitely check it out. It's on the website, but I'll put the link to it in the show notes. Yeah, it's a really, really good one if you are here for your own ascension and your own activation and like, you know, basically the activation of your light body. Definitely check it out. Okay, that's it, my friends. I love you so much. I hope that you have an amazing week, and I really look forward to connecting with you again on the next energy report.